What's up guys, it's Amanda and you are watching my art channel. This week I have a bonus video for you guys where I'm going to be reviewing this set of the Faber Castel Pitt Artist pens. These are the brush pens and this is the set that has 6 different shades of gray. So let me just open these up for you guys. These, let me just say, these were the first brush pens I have ever used. So this was my first experience with brush pens and I have used these a lot since purchasing them and I like them a lot. So this, obviously you saw the front of the packaging. It comes with 6 colors. It is filled with India ink, 6 different shades of India ink. And on the back it claims to be pigmented ink, extremely light fast, which I'm not sure what that means. Light fast, like lightweight or like fast drying, I'm not sure. It says waterproof, permanent, odorless, acid free, and pH neutral, and they are available in 58 other colors and I only have 6. And it says that this brush tip will give you a range of around 1 to 5 milliliters, and I will be kind of demonstrating that. So yeah, I wanted to swatch out all the colors for you guys. I will also be including a demo in this video on like how I use them and stuff like that. So what I really love about this kit is that it has 3 warm grays and 3 cool grays. And you guys know I love my warm and cool grays, so this like appeals to me on a whole other level. So the first color in the warm grays is warm gray 3. It's just like a light warm gray. One thing that I will say is that it seems to me that like this ink, it's not, I mean it's India ink, but it almost builds like a water-based ink where like the more you go over it, like the darker it gets and it kind of gets grainy, stuff like that. So that's like the thickest line I can get. It's a squiggly line and this is about the thinnest, I guess. Can you guys even see that? It's a really light ink, so I might have to show you with some of the other ones. This is warm gray 4. As you can see, quite a bit darker than warm gray 3. That's about the thickest line you can get and about the thinnest. And warm gray 4 is one of my favorites in this set. So let me actually label these for you guys as I go so you guys know which one is which. And then next up we have warm gray 5. And again, it's gonna be very much the same thing, although again, it is quite a bit darker. Like when you consider that this is warm gray 3 and this is warm gray 5, this is a pretty big jump. So if you're thinking of like warm and cool grays in terms of like how the Copic marker coating system works, you should just know that like these are a completely different color system entirely. So now we're gonna move on to the cool grays. This is cool gray 3. That is the swatch for you, about the thickest line I can get, squiggly line, and about the thinnest line. And I do like the variety of sizes that you can get in these pens, and I mentioned that in the demo. Okay, so I just wanted to write all of those out really quickly. We have cool gray 4 right here, and to me, cool gray 3 and cool gray 4 seem more similar than the warm gray 3 and warm gray 4. So just something to keep in mind. I'm not really sure how this like color coding system works, so just something to kind of keep in mind that like you may not always get what you expect. I don't really think that the outer packaging is a good indicator of the color that you get. It is a little bit off, but it does give you like a general idea. So those are your 6 colors. I also wanted to compare it to another Faber Castel Pitt Artist pen that I have, and this is the soft brush pen, and this is just in a plain black shade, and I don't know if this is the same size, but it is a lot more flexible, so you can get quite a bit more variety in there. But I do find that like the felt tip on this pen does not give me a lot of consistency in my lines. So I don't know if you can tell, but with the black brush pen, the ink is a little bit more choppy. Like there's little breaks in the line, and with the grays that does not happen. So that is one plus side. I honestly was not a big fan of the Faber Castel soft brush pen, and I much prefer the regular brush pens. So that's just a little side note. Now I just want to test these for you guys against Copic markers, since that is what I use them with. I wanted to just do like a smudge test, I guess. So I'm gonna be using one of the darker colors. I'm gonna be using Warm Gray 5. And just so you guys know, I'm working on marker paper right now, so I'm gonna just do some quick little lines here, and I'm gonna do one of the medium shades as well. Just like some lines. And then I'm going to be taking a handy dandy Copic marker. I'm just gonna be taking BV00, because this is one of the colors that I use in the demo. And I'm just going to run over this and see if we get any bleeding or anything like that. So I'm gonna saturate this swatch pretty heavily. Let's pick another color as well. Let's do BG10. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to prove to you guys that if there is any bleeding with Copic markers, when you put the Copic down after inking, I just wanted to like give that information to you guys. I use these brush pens usually after I color with Copic markers. I also want to do a test on the Faber Castel soft brush pen, because this ink to me seems very different, and I'm like totally afraid that this one is gonna smudge. So let's do this again with the BV00 marker. Yeah, that smudges a little bit. Okay, so now let me bring you guys in. So this was with the Warm Gray 5 marker, and you can see I got no bleeding. I don't even think it feathered really, and that was like putting marker on right after putting the line down. So I did not get any bleeding when I used the Copic marker on top of the brush pens that came in the set of 6. However, when I tested it against the soft brush pen, I don't know if it was just because the ink was black or if it's a different ink entirely, but that one did smudge for me. So keep that in mind, because both of these brush pens are from the exact same brand and they do not perform as equals. But however, all the ones in this set of 6 were entirely Copic marker proof. Whether you put them underneath your Copic markers or on top of them, you will not get any bleeding or feathering. So now I'm gonna get into the demo where I show you guys how I use these pens to add details and line work to my artwork, and then I will be back to give you my final thoughts. Alright guys, so now that I have my coloring done on this piece here, I'm going to go in with my brush pens and kind of add some lines and some final details. So I'm gonna be using a mix of the warm and cooler grays, because I did use a mix of warm and cool tones in this piece. So I'm gonna start off by going in with Warm Gray 4. This is one of my favorites, and I'm just going to be accentuating some of my major lines around the figure. So like the arms, some of the facial details, and stuff like that, and probably some of the hair with this color as well. So this is a smaller piece. I believe the measurements of this piece are, yeah, 5 by 7. So because this is a smaller piece, I thought that this would be a good way to demonstrate the line variety that you can get with these brush pens, because you can get finer details with these pens, and I think that that's important, because at least for me with a brush pen, I like a lot of size variety. I like being able to get a finer point without having to switch my inking tool. I think that's always nice. It's just kind of convenient. So let's just kind of finish up her body details, and then I will move on to explaining how I like to do the facial details. So I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit for the face. Pretty much I don't feel the need to outline every little single thing on the face. I don't really feel that way with the hair either. I feel like I can get away with creating less lines when I do this, or having breaks in the lines just to kind of soften everything and make it look a little bit lighter, if you know what I mean. As you can see, the details on the face are tiny. It's like about, I don't know, a little bit bigger than like the size of my thumb. So it's pretty small, but I'm pretty confident that I will be able to get all of the details. So for the eyes, I'm pretty much just going to focus on the upper lash line and not the lower lash line so much, just because I think the lower lash line is implied, plus we have the pencil lines there. So I'm not worried about adding in those details. And I'm adding a little bit of lash, just kind of as I can. It's kind of hard to get that precise, so you might want to go in with a finer pointed multi-liner. And then I'm just gonna kind of accentuate the very outer corner of the eye, and then I'll actually go in with a lighter color to accentuate the pupil. So that is pretty much the extent of the details on the face. Just kind of gonna clean up the mouth a little bit. So why I go in with the lines after the fact is because some of the ink on this paper, because it's super textured, will kind of bleed and feather out. And so going in with the lines after the fact just kind of helps everything to look a little more precise. Now I'm going in with Warm Gray 3. This is just a little bit lighter. I'm gonna kind of further outline like the pupil, the under part of the eye. I can do the little cheekbone, you know, kind of just finish accentuating some of the lines that I don't want to be as harsh, like so. I'll probably go back with the Warm Gray 4 marker just to add some details in the hair. And again, with the hair, you don't really have to ink all the lines. You can just ink the ones that you feel are going to add more structure. So like the ones right around the face, you can maybe add some details like little strands if you want. And then probably most of my lines are going to be on the perimeter of the piece so that she stands out against the background, because she has these defining lines. And you can also add in like extra strands for detail, like little wispy hairs here, stuff like that if you feel the need to. And then also right here I'm going to outline her shell bra so that it doesn't kind of get lost in there, like that, and just kind of accentuate the details. I don't want it to look too cartoony, so I'm not going to outline every single detail, but I do just want to make sure that it's clear what is kind of going on there. And I'm going to outline this piece because it is coming forward, like in front of the rest of her hair. So to kind of create that definition and space, I'm going to outline that, and then you can kind of lighten the lines behind it, and so on. So I think you guys should get the idea. I just kind of wanted to show you a little demo on how I use these brush pens and how they perform on paper. This is cardstock, by the way, and it's like a really textured cardstock, but I have used these on Bristol board and marker paper as well, and they work great. So that'll pretty much wrap up the talk through part of this demo. I'm just gonna speed up the rest of it. I think you guys get the idea. And I will be back with my final thoughts after this. Alright guys, so in conclusion, I would say that this is a really awesome brush pen set for somebody who is just starting out with brush pens. I think the flexibility in the tips is really nice. They're not too soft, they're not too firm. It really gets you comfortable with working with something like a brush pen. I also do like the shade variety in here. I like that you have lights, mediums, and darks, and I like that you have warms and cools. So all in all, I would give this set probably like a 9 out of 10. I think the only thing that kind of had me a little iffy was that it's hard to tell how this like color system works, because the gradient from 3 to 4 to 5 did not work the same way as it did for like the cool grays. Like the difference between warm gray 3 and warm gray 4 and cool gray 3 and cool gray 4 are different to me, and I think that that can be a little bit misleading and a little bit confusing. But I would just say make your own swatches and kind of have that as your own personal reference, which you should always do anyway, just so you are getting a really good idea of what colors you actually have. So that would be my biggest recommendation and kind of the one reason that I don't rate this a 10 out of 10, but honestly these are super good. They were super affordable also. I do not remember the exact price, but I will insert that on the screen for you guys so you can have it for reference. And then also just be wary that even though both of these brush pens, the soft brush pen and the Faber Castel artist brush pens, are from the same brand, they're both from Faber Castel, the ink in the soft brush pen bled and smudged a lot more for me than in these pens. So just again, just a little side note for you guys to be careful of that, and maybe always test to see if your markers are going to smudge. Especially if they are like water-based or alcohol-based, because even though these are waterproof or claim to be waterproof, that doesn't exactly mean that they will be alcohol proof or Copic marker proof, Prisma marker proof, anything like that. So just be careful and always try things out for yourself. But I do hope you guys liked this review and found it helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I will definitely be doing more art supply reviews in the future. But until then, I will see you guys next week with my Artsy Fartsy Friday piece, which is also where you will see how I finish coloring the rest of this mermaid piece. So stay tuned, that's all the sneak peek you get, and I will see you guys Friday.